right, Rocket football fans, here we go. Second season. Crittenden County hosts Caverna for the first round of the playoffs. 7 p.m. kickoff on Friday night. Coach Thompson, this is a team we beat 54-0 a few weeks ago. We got to play them again.
Yeah, but this time it's different. They're coming in with the opportunity to knock us out of the playoffs. B team knocks us out of the playoffs. So I expect to see.
Expect them to close the gap.
Well, I expect them to come out and give us everything they have. We'll see every trick, play, every bit of effort they have, anything that they felt like they saw the first time that we lined up to throw out and leave nothing left back in the closet, try to take us out. So we got to come out and make sure we do our job early and not let that happen.
Caverna has one win this year. That was over Shawnee, a team that has not won in, I think, 56 tries. So our opponent this week, we're certainly a heavy favorite to win this game. How do you prepare your kids for this?
It's about taking care of yourself. We've talked about this before. We went out this week, practiced with us in mind. There's a lot of things that we have to get better at, and we made this week about us. So we had to keep the kids focused first off, because this is a new year, and especially talking about 1-0 each week. Because if you don't win that game, then that's it. You pack it up, you put it all away, you shine the chrome helmets and get ready for the next one. So, there's things that we had to get better at, and that's what this week's focus was on. And it's in all aspects of the game: defense, offense, special teams. So we worked on it, and now hopefully we're better this week, and we can go out and execute things a little bit better than we have at times.
Well, we're going to talk about us on this show, but we're also going to talk about them, and we'll be right back, and we'll talk about them.
Ever since I was a child, I've loved land. I loved every land. My mother's father was a farmer, so that my granddaddy and his father was a farmer, and I spent my childhood's summers in coming to Kentucky and working on the farm, and everything from the smell of dirt to feeling it run, the dirt go between your fingers. There's nothing like it.
I love option play.
Was that a 42 speed option?
Are you looking for a banking option?
Sequence, double party unit.
Come to Marion soon.
5 regular season home games, at least 2 home playoff games, at 8 touchdowns per, 56 touchdowns. That's a lot of booms.
Cashback, please.
25 cents.
I need to cash this, please.
25 cents.
Cashback, please.
25 cents.
Hunter, why are you shortchanging the customers?
At this window, all you get's a quarterback.
Welcome back to the show. What we're going to do is talk about them, as we said, and them will be the teams throughout West Kentucky who are still alive in the playoffs. And unless you're in a 5-team district somewhere, you're still alive in the playoffs, because there's 4 teams out of every district going. Coach Courtney, Coach Thompson, where are your eyes, other than the game at hand here in Crittenden County, where are your eyes going to be? What scores are you going to be checking on Friday night?
I think the first score that we have to check would be the Fulton County-Russellville game, because the winner of our game, that's who we would play. And the last time they played, it was a really tight game. Fulton County had Russellville down a little bit, and Russellville was able to make a little run and come back and take that game. It's kind of like what happened last year. So I know Coach Bridges is looking to get his team over the hump and try to get Russellville and when it counts, because they want to come to Crittenden County and take us out as well. And then the other game would be...
Well, let me inject something here. Lest we forget that Fulton County had Russellville down and had us down at the half. Mm-hmm. So they're a dangerous football team.
Yeah, anytime you have an athlete like Caleb Kimball, you have a chance. You have a puncher's chance. So they're a dangerous team, and Russellville's going to have to play to keep that 2 seed.
And the other game you were going to mention?
Yeah, it was the Campbellsville and Bethlehem game. Campbellsville's took us out the last couple of years. So with the new RPI system and stuff, we'll see how it works, but it'll definitely affect it. And Bethlehem did end up beating them, right? No, Campbellsville won the first matchup, but Corley went out around halftime. I believe that's right. And I think that's what that game comes down to. That we're going to see if Corley plays for Campbellsville or not. And I think that's going to be.
And you're talking about
how healthy he is.
Malachi Corley,
Yes.
who is the kid's going to Duke, I believe, where he committed. I don't know if he committed to Duke. I know they were interested in him last year. I hadn't followed up on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But he's definitely a Division I prospect and may have already committed, but he's been injured and he's been out of the lineup the last few games and has really left Campbellsville short-handed, and they've lost some games they normally wouldn't have.
Yeah, 2 in a row, and Kentucky Country Day handled him well without him. I mean, he's the difference maker. He's a special kid.
And the big thing that when you look at Campbellsville being a team that is capable of beating these teams, they're also a team whose RPI is behind ours. So you start looking at different matchups based on them winning as opposed to the other teams winning.
And that RPI is going to come into play in that third round and be very significant. And we're learning something new, it seems like, every week with the RPI. And we'll be back in just a minute. We'll talk a little bit about RPI.
Hello, I'm Rick Hughes at Deer Lakes Golf Course in Salem, Kentucky, home of Rocket Golfers.
Hey, Rocket football fans!
Let Rommel Ellington tackle your dirty ride.
Welcome to Hometown Chiropractic. I'll be right with you.
From our team to yours, we're behind you all the way, Rockets. Par 4 Plastics, where people make the difference.
All right, let's talk a little bit about RPI. This is the rankings that the KHSAA is using this year, the power rankings, and it will determine the third round of the playoffs. We don't like to get too far ahead, but it's fun to talk about these scenarios if these guys will have this discussion with me. So right now there's basically 2 scenarios. If we get to the third round, take care of business, we're the number 1 seed in our district, people expect us to come out of it. And if we do, we could go to Newport Catholic or we could go to Louisville and play Kentucky Country Day. Is there any other scenarios, or is that pretty much it?
If either one of those teams were upset, that's the only other scenarios. But those are the. I don't see how it could be any other scenario than that. And that's what I think. That's the best part of the RPI is it's intriguing right now. You know, in the past you can say that you didn't know, but you could just about pick it all the way through. But now the way things are, you don't know who's going to be there or where you're going. So today we're focused on Caverna, and then we're focused on the 2 or 3 seed coming out of our district, and then we'll know from there. Just to give you a little bit of what you wanted to hear, but also keep it with what you knew you were gonna hear.
Of course, we're number 10 right now in the RPI. We're number 7 in the Associated Press poll. It's as high as we've been since we were, I think, number 5 at one point after the first couple of weeks. So late, at least the second half of the season, 7. We've been there the last 2 weeks. It's nice to get those, and you know, we're going into this football game this week against a Caverna team that we should handily take care of. Coach Courtney, is there anything that you've planned for differently that you saw in the first game, or do you just go in there and do it the same way you did game 1?
We made minor adjustments, but really, like Coach Thompson said, it's just about us. And it's a good game for us. Our pass defense is still probably the main thing that we have to work on. And Caverna's going to come in here and they're going to throw it around. So it's a good first round, really, for us defensively. And getting Jonesy more comfortable into that inside linebacker, getting Ian Ellington some more reps inside, and just getting that confidence in the position as we're moving into the playoffs.
It's important because we are a different team at this point than the last time we played them. So we do have some things that we have to fix and some things that they do well that are a weakness for us right now. So we have to get better at. But and also you look at it, and one thing you got to prepare a little differently than how the game ended up last time is that quarterback was really decent. He didn't play well against us. He's a guy that's shown on film. He can throw it and sling it around, and got some guys that catch it, and they weren't able to do that last time. And we'd like to take credit for it 100%. Our kids came out and played, but at the same time, they didn't play as well as we've seen them on film. So,
all right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Through the week, we are welding and fabricating. On Friday nights, we are grinding it out with the Rockets. Touchdown Rockets!
Since 1973, Hodges has been equipping Rockets and Rocket fans with gear and apparel. Come see us! We'll see you Friday night at the football game.
Hey Kelly, it's almost Friday.
And we'll see you at Rocket Stadium.
I'm Darren Tabor, Homestead Auction Realty. Let us get you across the goal line with a new home.
You go in the game this week, you're going style, Rocket fans. Come by Max 2 Custom Kit and Detail for a $15 wash.
All right, welcome back to the show. Well, we're 10 weeks into this football season. We've got bruises, we've got bumps, we've got serious injuries. Give us your latest injury report.
You got Bryson Baker, who we lost early in the year. He, he's doing a lot better. His bones, he looks
collarbone.
Collarbone, yeah. Early in the year, hit the ground. It looks really good. Obviously, he's not cleared to play, but you kind of wish he would or was because of the potential there. But the main thing is he's doing a lot better. Then of course T-Bone has that torn muscle in his hip back. It's just going to be a good long recovery process for him, and we wish him the best in that. He'll get to where he's able to move around, be a little more mobile here in the next week or so. But other than that, we have most everybody. They may have bumps and bruises, but they're available.
Well, those are two guys that we're not going to see again this season. But we've got some other guys, Ian Ellington, who's had this chronic issue with his knee, Lathan Easley, who has had the chronic ankle problems. Those guys, to me, just from my observation point, appear to be really maybe getting stronger in those injured areas. Coach Courtney, those are two of your defensive guys. What do you say?
Yeah, definitely. I think you can really see a change in Lathan. The last few weeks, it's very visible how fast he's playing. He looks better than ever. And with Ian, for me, on the defense side of the ball, he's a lot more confident in the way he's feeling. He's wanting to be out there and get some defensive reps. Where early in the year, he just wasn't sure of it yet. He wasn't sure how long that knee would hold up and needed a lot of breaks. And I'm not seeing that anymore with him either.
Lathan Easley. Here's a statistic for you. Lathan Easley is number 3 all-time career sacks.
Yeah.
Lathan Easley, the guy right there who's a junior right now.
Right.
And so the only guys in front of him are Sean O'Leary and Adam Beavers. So that's pretty good company.
Yeah, definitely so. And you think that he has a whole year left if he can stay healthy, what he can do. And he's a kid that started off at linebacker as a freshman year. We ended up using him some as a freshman. But if he had that year too, he's a great player. Been a great player for us.
Anybody else with significant injuries that maybe this week, since it's a game that, according to RPI, we should handle Caverna very easily? Is there anybody you keep them out, let them lick on their wounds a little bit, or?
Yeah, the big one that may stand out. It's all depending on how he feels. Would be Noah McGowan. His shoulder is a little sore from, I think he did it 2 weeks ago. I guess a Russellville game. On our sideline on the Russellville game, kind of injured his shoulder a little bit, but he's a little tender right now, so we'll keep a close eye on him and make sure that we don't make things worse this week and try to get away with him getting a week.
He's a one side of the ball guy right now.
Well, we use him in packages. He's a really great blocker. He's technically sound up front, and we use him as a tight end. And have some stuff built in where he's on the field offensively, but the majority of his plays are on the defensive side of the ball.
Anybody else?
That's the big one.
The big one, yeah. I know there's a few, like you said, bumps and bruises, but when you go 10 weeks in the season, you're going to have this. There's a difference between being injured and being hurt, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And right now, we may have a lot of them that are hurt, but they're not injured. We've got two that are injured for sure. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come right back.
Full Body Fitness, training Rockets and Rocket fans since 2006.
All right, Coach Thompson, another week you're trying to win $100. We need somebody to kick that Boots for Bucks field goal. and we've had some really close ones, and it seems like the 35-yarder they almost make it, and then you scoot them in 10 and give them that consolation kick, and then they shank it or hook it. I mean, it's all. But hey, kicking a football is tough business, and you've got a guy right now kicking for your football team that's kicking tail, isn't he?
Yeah, Perkins has been very consistent for us, an extra point. And he would be a consistent field goal kicker as long as we're within his range. So he's been very consistent. I feel like, the last few years it's just been like we've been lucky with the kicker position to have that consistency. And it's like when you look in the record books and you talk about the percentages and all that stuff, they just keep on outdoing each other the next year.
He's up there right now.
He's up there and
has
another year, so he'll be a 2-year guy. So he'll have opportunity to put his name in there.
I keep looking for his older brother to put in on the boot for Bucks because he could smoke one. He could put it in. But remember, go on our Facebook page, look for the promotional by Whitetail Properties for Boots for Bucks. Share that, and you'll have an opportunity then to be drawn in a random drawing to get out there and kick a field goal, win $100, and he gets $100 if you can make it too for his football program. Also, we want to take care of our trivia question right now. We have a very interesting trivia question this week, and it's based on the playoffs. I'm going to read it to you. Last season, Caden McAllister intercepted 2 passes in the Caverna playoff game. Only one other Rocket player in history has ever intercepted 2 passes in a playoff game. If you can tell me who that is, don't tell me. Go down to H&H Home and Hardware, tell them who it is, and you'll get a free round of golf from down at Deer Lakes Golf Course if you have the right answer. All right, we're going to come back in just a moment and close out the show, get some closing comments from these guys.
Here at H&H, we've got just about anything that it takes to get you back out on the field.
T-Bone, good luck this week.
Thank you. Good luck this week, Hayden.
Boys, we got to know what the game plan is this week. We're banking on you.
All right, if you feel like you haven't gotten enough football information from the Coaches Show every week, go to the Rocket Football website. You get there through the Crittenden Press online, and Andy Hunt puts together just a voluminous amount of information every week, and you can get on there and you can find out things that you can't even imagine there's a stat for. And what an incredible job he does.
Yeah, he does a great job. I challenge him to go out and just for me, to make a trivia question.
With you in it?
No.
You being the answer.
With him being the answer. Because he was a great Rocket football player as well for,
and he was a good player.
I don't know how many years he played, but the year he played, I remember he was really good. So there's got to be something that would involve him. I want to see if he can dig it up.
I do remember once when Andy was lying on the ground. It was over at Webster County, and he was injured. And it seemed like his head was on the goal line and his feet were outside the end zone. That's how big a guy Andy is. That's one of my most memorable memories of Andy Hunt playing football. Well, I want to tell you this statistic that he has provided us this week, and it's very interesting. From 2007 to 2018, how many different schools made it to the Final 8 in Class A with the word county at the end of the school? In other words, being a county school. How many, from 2007 to last year, so to present, had gotten to the Final 8 in the playoffs as a county school? One.
Oh,
You got the answer.
I thought you was going to let me answer it.
Yeah. One. That's Crittenden County. Crittenden County. And all that information that he's got that in there on the website, so go on there and read it all and make plenty of time tonight to read through it. All right, now we're going to close out the show. We're going to talk a little bit about some of these guys who are assaulting the record books. Xander Tabor has moved into the top 10 all-time rushing. And I tell you, that's a feather in this football team's cap to have a guy like that on the football team.
For sure, especially in an offense that doesn't run the ball. For him.
Well, we don't allegedly run the ball now, but historically, Crittenden County was all run.
Yeah, and that makes it even more impressive. If he's in a pass-heavy offense and been that effective on the ground. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic because we've
not
been
pass-heavy
500.
anymore.
We've been 50-50 since I've been here. He's just a really great running back. He sees everything well, and he plays tough. So he's probably a bigger version of what running backs used to be at Crittenden County, and he'll continue to do as long as he stays healthy. He's only going to get better. I as a coach, as an offensive coordinator, it makes it easy for you to go out there and think, what can I do now? You always hear, what are you going to do when what you're doing is not working? And the answer is give Xander the ball. So,
it's pretty easy.
Pretty easy when you got a back like him, but also your line playing the way they're playing, and it makes it easier for him when he does have the line in front of him blocking the way they have this season.
Let's turn that question around to the defense, and we'll throw Coach Courtney a curve here. So when what you're doing is not working, what do you do defensively?
I think it goes into preparing for the week. I always try to.
You don't let that happen, in other words.
Yeah, I always have main things that we want to do, and then the next main thing that you want to do after that doesn't work. So just making sure for me that I'm always prepared. All right, we're spending all this time on this, but what if this doesn't work?
Plan A, Plan B, Plan C.
Yeah, be ready for something bad.
All right, now I'm going to ask each of you a question to close out the show. Offensively, we'll start on the offensive side of football. This year, what player or what group of players has surprised you the most as a football coach and an observer of this football team? Even if you have to step aside and say, if I were in the stands and looking at this, what has been the most surprising aspect of this offense?
For me, that's an easy answer. It's actually, there's two at this point in the season. The easy answer, what people want to hear or think you would say would be X, and I'm not surprised by X one bit. I knew what X was years ago in middle school, watching him play in middle school. So I expected him to get to this point, but the surprise to me would be the offensive line, because if you remember, you go back to the shows, and that's what we said. We'll go as far as our offensive line to take us. And what they did was take that personal. They worked hard every day to get better. They kept our quarterback clean all year. They've opened up holes for X to run through all year, and they've done it together. There's been a group of them, and they just took it personal that we were saying that this could be our weakness, or where the youth was, and where we would need to get better to be successful.
5 guys are on the line at any given time. Name those guys and who maybe some of the other regulars are out there.
Left tackle, we got Riley Gobin, Tucker Sharp at left guard, Ben Evans at center, right guard Ian Ellington, right tackle would be Dylan Yates. Some other guys you've seen out there in the rotation was Jagger Hayes, you could say, is a starter. He's been in there rotating at that guard. Cooksey, Holden Cooksey's been a guy that you've seen throughout the year at times. That would be our top 7.
Same thing, Coach Courtney.
You didn't let me finish.
Oh, you still have
the other part.
Oh, this is part 2. I'm sorry.
Come on now. At this point in the year, the other thing I'm surprised by is Kreider. Luke Kreider coming in and being just a spark for us. Just another flame on the fire to get it going again. When we were kind of getting, that point in the night where the fire was going out, he came in and he saved us. And he's been consistent since then. And I knew that he was a smart quarterback. I knew that he was an efficient quarterback. I knew that he could go out and play the position, but I didn't know he'd be able to play it at the level that he's played it since he's been in there this year right now.
It's been doggone good for the last 3 weeks.
And we got to keep it going.
Yeah. Coach Courtney, it's your turn. What's as an observer of this football program, what surprises you?
I'd probably say our depth. That's been something that's kind of been surprising, especially in the secondary. When we started out the year kind of struggling a little bit, or at least it kind of seemed like that. People were kind of panicking around saying, are we going to be able to stop the pass, this and that. And what we did with that, we kind of had questions too as far as who should be where. So we started rotating guys a lot and giving a lot of guys.
Name some of those guys.
Logan Bailey being one, Trace Darrington, Travis Guest, and those are guys that weren't starting along with
now could
do. So and then putting them in different roles. So, and not just there, we started with Hunter Jones playing quarterback, so it got Maddox on the field being able to play that other safety, and then we have Noah McGowan move in. Preston Toey decides to play. We didn't know that going into the year. The D-line looked a lot different. Now I have a starting D-line with or 2 starting defensive end caliber guys that come in. So we just had a lot of guys. I knew coming in that I felt like our starters would be good. But the depth that we've been able to have, I feel like anybody goes down, we don't have to do all this shifting to get one guy out here, one guy there, and moving them around a whole lot. We can just put in the second or third guy, whatever it is, in that position and still be okay.
Yeah. So how deep are we going now? We've got probably 17, 18 guys that are playing on a regular rotation. I'm guessing. I haven't looked at
those
that.
special teams in there. You probably
More than that. Yeah, a lot of guys just play on special teams.
That's one thing that when we took over it last year, that we were really committed to playing as many kids as we can, especially early, so that they're ready. This comes at this time of year, because you get in other years where you play in 11 guys and everything that you do, and then those guys start getting hurt. No one else is ready, and this is the time of year where you got to be at your best. So the more kids that you can play and have them ready, the better off you are.
And you don't just throw a guy out there on special teams that's not ready to play either, because games are won and lost by special teams often.
For sure.
So you got to have confidence in those guys, and that may be the only thing they're doing. But Rowan Perkins is one that comes to my mind. He's in on a lot of tackles. He's all over the field.
It's the same with Trace. They take
Trace is another one.
Flying down the field. You turn those guys that are willing to take pride in what you ask them to do, even if it may not seem like a very, very important role. It is, because with what we do, especially on our kickoff and our punt, you got to have guys like that don't care to sell out and run down the field and make a tackle in space, or look bad because you're making them fly down the field so fast, and they do it well. So both of those guys, take pride in their role and what
pride and joy, and
that's how you get more opportunities.
The names for your special teams. All right, hey, we're going to take a lot of pride and a lot of joy in this week playing Caverna in the opening round of the Class A playoffs. We'll be right here at Rocket Stadium. Kickoff at 7 p.m. Come out and watch the show that these guys put on. We'll see you Friday night.
Everything in this country was built from the ground up, and it starts with land. When I can go out and take somebody onto a property and see that gleam in their eye when they find a farm that they fall in love with because they're as passionate about land as I am, that's when the magic happens. That's what makes what we do so great. There's no dollar amount. There's nothing else that can compare to the look you get when somebody signs on that dotted line and their dreams have come true about owning land.